Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, and we're moving on with more Casey Anthony defence witnesses, and the next is Maureen Bottrell. Maureen is a geologist forensic examiner with the FBI lab in the Trace Examiners Unit. Maureen received evidence in this case as part of the normal process in the lab, so obviously the evidence comes in and it goes through each department. The items she received were from Casey's car. This was debris from the trunk, the shovel, 22 pairs of shoes. I mean, I don't, maybe that's normal, but I don't have anywhere near that amount. And a transport bag. Maureen also received soil evidence from the scene on Suburban Drive. From the trunk of the car and the soil, she performed a provenance study to see where this evidence came from. From two of the car samples, there was insufficient evidence. The other sample from the car, it was a mix of materials, which is not uncommon, but you can't do a provenance study because all the materials are mixed and you can't really separate those. For the shovel, the provenance study was started, but the body was found, so it was no longer needed. So that was stopped. Nothing more was done with that. She says the majority of the shoes either had no geological evidence on them, some of them appeared to be unworn, or the material on them was so limited they couldn't test them. There were 3 pairs of shoes that had evidence on them, so they were able to do a comparison with the crime scene, and the soil evidence from the shoes was different to the crime scene, so they didn't match. As for the transport bag, which is the transport bag that the shoes came in, there was insufficient evidence for them to be able to do a comparison. And the transport bag was tested because the shoes were transported in there and soil may have dropped off in there. The cross-examination, Maureen can't say that those pair of shoes that she tested hadn't definitely been to the scene on Suburban Drive. So, she couldn't test the soil, so they could have come from Suburban Drive, but it was insufficient. So, it's just one of those things. So the next witness is Madeline Montgomery. Madeline is a forensic toxicologist and a forensic chemist with the FBI. So, my favourite subject, hair. Madeline received a hair sample to test, and it was the hair mass. What she was interested in was if there were any chemicals in the hair itself, so they needed to get inside of the hair. So what they will do is physically break apart the hair, and in this case they used liquid nitrogen, which made it very cold and very brittle, so it will break on impact, and then they make it into dust. That dust is then extracted overnight in a chemical solvent, so that any drugs or any poison they're interested in will be leached into the solvent. Next, they will do further purification techniques on that solvent and make what they call an extract. That extract is then taken along with known samples of hair to the liquid chromatograph mass spectrometer. They were testing for Xanax and Klonopin, and the results for these were negative in the hair sample. Other testing was done to check for 8 other drugs in the same class as Xanax and Klonopin, and also for ketamine. The results were negative for all of them. So the cross-examination. So again, with the hair, just because Madeline didn't find any of these drugs in the hair, it doesn't mean it wasn't there, because hair is not the best to test for drug exposure. The redirect, they did not look for chloroform in hair samples. They will look for it in liquid biological samples. So, hair. It's there you know, as an extra test, but, you know, without everything else, it's just not viable, in my opinion. So that's it for those two witnesses. As you know, I'll be back with more in the next video. So until then, bye for now.